Hey guys, Cam for 15, back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review for you guys. Listen, point, simple, and blank, I called it. I effing called it. I said it for weeks, months, I think maybe a year or two, that the build-up to All Might returning would come. And I was fucking right. I predicted this. I knew he was going to come back and he was going to get involved in some sort of fight against All For One. I just knew it because it made sense. It made sense. Now, it's not in the way I thought it would happen. I thought Eri would actually rewind him, but it seems like Horikoshi is going a different twist. Going with a different bit of a twist for All Might to stall All For One. But this chapter, man, had a lot of content. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of content, but it had obviously two major things going on right now. Obviously with the Dabi stuff, and then the All For One All Might stuff. And then obviously right now we also got Shigiraki going on too. Anyways, let's get to this week's chapter of My Hero Academia. So, we start the chapter off in pretty much the police headquarters, and the police headquarters are pretty much freaking the hell out. Again, Tsukauchi is wondering if there is anybody else left to fight, any other heroes left to fight to, like, stall All For One, and people are like, no, we don't really, we have that. And then on top of it, the other police officers make a mention, there's another issue going on, Tsukauchi, and that is that is involved with Dabi's heat. Now, we find out that apparently, the thing is, after Dabi was knocked out the first time, he's apparently been building up this, like, energy, this thermal energy within him, and pretty much in about 10 minutes or so, and the manga even says, like, shit, maybe not 10 minutes, maybe only, like, a few minutes, really, to be honest, the guy is gonna practically condense that thermal energy and then just massively explode it within a 5-kilometer, map radius. So pretty much, you have it where LaBrava makes the mention about, like, UA, and then Shiketsu. Like, I think she said UA in the west, Shiketsu in the it's UA in the east, Shiketsu in the west. And pretty much this huge blast would literally, whoever's in that radius would be killed, pretty much. And pretty much Shiketsu and UA are directly in that radius. So it's gonna be freaking interesting to see what's going to happen. And right now Tsukauchi's kind of freaking out and everything. And listen, that's on one front. You have LaBrava's like, you need to reach out to them. You need to tell somebody about that because otherwise we're in trouble. So in the meantime, you have a gigantic, probably I wouldn't say nuclear bomb, but you pretty much have a big gigantic bomb going off that will kill thousands of people if not stopped. So yeah, and then they also say that there's still an evac box that stops moving, which it's the evacuation box I think the Todoroki family are in, so that's kind of the thing that sucks anyways. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things going on and stuff like that. Now, in the meantime, Tsukauchi does give an update about All For One. Apparently, he's moving at insane speeds, and he'll be in range to pretty much use the little glop quirk that he can use to transport himself somewhere. And pretty much the thing is, if Shigiraki and All For One meet up, it's virtually game over, pretty much. Tsukauchi is obviously asking for reinforcements, but the other forces are like, we have nothing else. This is all we have. Any other reinforcements have already fought and they're already down for the count, or the other ones have just retired. We have nothing left and everything. Then all of a sudden, this voice comes in and says, listen, Tsukauchi. We can then cut over back to Kamino Ward, and we see Ida and Todoroki pretty much, Todoroki's using Ida as a place to stand, and he's drilling to try to get in the way of All For One to try to stop him and buy some time. And obviously he's doing this so he doesn't reach Deku. But Ida's like, listen, dude, I understand your thoughts on your brother weighs heavily on you and things like that, but obviously Shigaraki's like, I have to do, I'm not Shigaraki, Todoroki's pretty much saying like, I gotta do whatever I can. Now, Ida says, I can only imagine the feelings that drove you to stand against him like that, the suffering you borne. You're the kind of soul who told me to never forget who I want to become. Why is this your emotional burden to bear? Then all of a sudden, the comms, somebody starts talking to the comms, and it ends up being All Might. Now, All Might pretty much says, listen, I have to make this quick because I don't have a lot of time. He pretty much tells Ida, listen, I need you to run over to Gungan Mountain right now because Dabi's on the verge of pretty much blowing up and killing thousands of people right now. Now, the thing is, Endeavor can't really do nothing to stop the blast, but he's keeping an eye on Dabi. Pretty much, he tells Ida, you know how to run, right? And Todoroki, that body and that mind are two halves of a whole. You know better than anyone within your inner turmoil you carried. And pretty much Todoroki's like, but All Might, what about All For One? He's on the way to try to, attack Deku. And pretty much All Might with a smile is like, you don't need to worry about that. There's somebody very powerful that's going to help, that's going to, deter him and things like that. So yeah. All Might goes on to say, battling on won't bring you victory if you carry doubts, but I got the utmost respect for you youngsters, full of doubt who nevertheless honor whatever it is that drives them. Put a stop to Toya, make everyone feel safe again so you can be your best self. Now, if anyone can't do a darn thing about the impending crisis at Gunga, it'd be a dynamic duo with engine and half cold, half hot. You're their only hope you got. So, yeah. Now, he cuts off the comms, and pretty much Todoroki's wondering, like, okay, Ida, how the hell are you going to run? Your engine's stalled. But the thing is, Ida's like, well, the good thing for the rain is it actually helped out, clean up that stuff. So, pretty much, Ida can start, running again. Pretty much, he starts charging up, I guess, his reciprocal boost stuff, and he pretty much goes full power. Now, we see Stain looking over, and he pretty much says, acting for the sake of others. Then all of a sudden, Ida just burst. He's going through buildings and everything, and they're going at like literally super speed pretty much on there. Now, the narrator of the story goes on to say, according to Hawks' account of the battle against All For One, the de-aging process has boosted All For One's power, but this leaves him unable to suppress his negative emotions. Now, Suga Uchi pretty much is screaming out on the comms to All Might saying, dude, don't do what I think you're going to do. And pretty much All Might's, listen, Suga Uchi, this is how this has got to be. After all, this was always my fight. And pretty much All For One, he's standing outside of his car with the briefcase, and he goes on to say, and All Might goes on to say, you must remember the endless warring that got us here. And now I have to hear Tomura Shigaraki's hatred is even affecting your original body. So I'm thinking, you won't be able to ignore me. Isn't that right? Then Yasuka Uchi pretty much screaming out like, no, you need to stop. You are quirkless. And pretty much All Might has a flashback to when Deku told him back, literally, I think in chapter 1 or 2, or the first episode of My Hero Academia when Deku came across All Might. The whole line of, can somebody be a hero? Can somebody without a quirk be a hero just like you? All For One pretty much does his smile, and the chapter ends off with All For One saying, with All Might saying, I am here. And that's what the chapter is titled. All For One gives a berserk looking face, but in the meantime, on this last panel, we see the All Might's car start to form around him, break apart and form around him, as well as the briefcase start to form around him as well. So it seems like All Might has some sort of tech to where he's going to form some sort of robotic suit around his body, and he's going to try to do something and stall All For One as much as he can till pretty much All For One erases from existence, or rewinds out of existence. great chapter, man. What a great freaking chapter. I can't believe that my prediction of All Might is coming true. Now, again, like I said, it's not in the way I predicted. I thought Eri would rewind him and he would get back to prime All Might. You know, and that's even before the injury, and you do that. But no, he's going to fight Quirkless. He's going to fight using probably what I would say just technology, or I guess you could say, honestly to God, it sounds like more like support items. And he's going to do his best to stall all for one. Now, the way he was talking to Todoroki and Ida, and the way he was talking to Suka Uchi, it sounds like it was like his last words of like a sacrifice in type of way, knowing that he more than likely is not going to make it out alive from this whole incident. And I think we're getting the moment where All Might is going to sacrifice himself. And it's going to probably be the whole thing where he's going to take down all, he's going to try, or maybe he does. I don't know where the story is going to go. You know, I really don't. You know, so for all I know, All Might will more than could die, and All for One will still get away. You know, and that's the thing. I don't know, but I definitely do think they've built this moment up for All Might to more than likely kick the bucket. They've been hinting at it. They've been foreshadowing the All Might death. I think this third fight, or round 3 of All for One and All Might we've seen in this series, I think this is going to be the one where All Might finally falls. Whether he takes down All for One with him, that will be left to be seen. But I definitely do think this is the sacrifice moment of the series. Where obviously the mentor sacrifices himself for all the other students, especially his main pupil in Deku, and then obviously I feel like that's gonna lead to a freaking Vestige World Enters battle, or inner like thing where Deku's gonna realize that All Might has passed away and he is now fully in the Vestige World, and that's only gonna fuel him to further defeat Shigiraki. I think that's where it's definitely going to be headed. I hope Horikoshi, he does not do the whole shit where it looks like All Might's dead, but then he doesn't die. I think this is one of the deaths that he's foreshadowed for many chapters, and this is dating back to the Overhaul arc with Night Eye and things like that. I think this is something where he just needs to go through it and just pull the plug. Don't do the Bakugo shit. Don't do what other certain animes or manga series do where they think, oh, this character's going to die but only to come back. Just go fully through the death of All Might because it's going to hit freaking hard. And then obviously, you know, that's kind of the thing there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. There is a break next week. So it's going to be 14 days till the next chapter. Much needed break for Horikoshi. He's going to get a break. So that's kind of the thing. Again, I'm of the stance. I think the guy needs a month break, but he wants to finish the story, and I got to respect that. But, you know, I'd rather freaking have him worry about his health and that kind of thing, which it's funny because then lo and behold, Black Clover, they're getting a whole month break after this last chapter they just did. And I'm like, Horikoshi can't get a freaking break, and I love Black Clover. I love Yuki Tabata and his work with Black Clover, but I'm like, Horikoshi with all his health issues and his waning health, he can't get this chapter ending and it says, oh, we're taking a month off. But Black Clover, they're getting a month off. Like, you know, what? You know, and things like that. You know, Dragon Ball Super, They freaking do a chapter just a month. Like, you're telling me that My Hero Academia Horikoshi can't get a month? I guess Shueisha really wants him to finish the story or something, or maybe he wants to finish the story, and that's why he's not taking off, or taking off like a month or two, but it is what it is. But anyways, solid My Hero Academia chapter. Very excited to see All Might versus All for One, you know, round 3 pretty much, and more than likely it's going to lead to the death of All Might. But anyways, guys, catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or night or whenever you're checking out this video. Peace.